In order to introduce this concept, for science news story number 2, we're going to take a pop on over to PBS and talk about the biology of pollinators. Did y'all know there's mammals that also are pollinators? Another member of the bee family, that's a good one too, Ella. Species of fox that pollinate, yes, Celadon. Celadon is getting closer to what this news story is about. Couple of things that humans do. One is that humans will pollinate flowers by hand when they've killed off a lot of the bee population. There is accidental human pollination where sometimes certain pollens might hitch a ride on us. So pollinators, you species of pollinators, but just wanted to go over why are pollinators so cool. Oh, the animal that's a pollinator is an Ethiopian wolf. Yeah, so that's the papercorn, is that there was it's the first documented case, an Ethiopian wolf, also aka a red jackal. Actually, it's got a bunch of different names. Here's all the AKAs. It's an Ethiopian wolf, aka red jackal, aka Ethiopian jackal, aka the Abyssinian wolf, aka the horse jackal, aka the simian jackal, aka the simian fox. And it is very endangered, small numbers, small range, and it is one of the rarest sights in the world. Here, let me grab a picture of this beautiful animal. This beautiful animal. And so I guess we're gonna go ahead and say the punchline, y'all. There's less than 500 individuals. They primarily eat mole rats or maybe other rats as well. But they also have been observed foraging nectar. Yeah, there is the wolf. So the quick crux of the story is that they eat this particular kind of nectar foraging. So this tree is called the Nephophia foliosa is what it's called. And it's an herb endemic to Ethiopia. It's found in the Bale Mountains and its other higher altitude grasslands. And it turns out that these produce a huge amount of nectar, and occasionally like birds and pollinators will come. But these wolves, they were tracking the movement, and they found that the wolves hit up almost like in a single trip of them going around foraging for food, not like in a season, but a single trip, 30 different of these plants, and actually are touching the new plants over and over again, so they're actually spreading the pollen. What's also, I thought, even cooler actually is that they had like a throwaway line in the paper that there is social learning that happened here. So the juveniles were brought along with the adults, and then they started mimicking the adults. So it's probably something where if you took out all these wolves and raised them somewhere else for a generation and then put them back, they probably wouldn't ever do it. So it was all learned, and it's passed on over time with these animals. It was again a throwaway like little paragraph in the paper. So the reason it's social learning, Sparky, is because it's learned by the young from the elderly or from the older animals, and so it's transmitted through that social interaction. Learned behaviors sometimes are defined as you could learn it by yourself, but here they're not learning it by themselves, they're learning it from observing and interacting with other individuals, and that's what's making it social learning, if that makes sense. And it's a thin delineation, but the only reason there is that level of delineation is because otherwise you might end up getting the two mixed up, and it's just like the learned behavior is like the overarching term, and then a sub term is that it's social learning. These are quite rare animals, so the fact that they were able to do this study and get enough measurements to be like, all right, on a single foraging trip this animal gets this amount of plants that it interacts with, it's like, oh, that's actually a really nicely done bit of info and collecting there. But again, there is your wolf for you. So this is an Ethiopian wolf. Again, it's highly endangered. They think there's less than 500 of these animals left in the wild. They're known as Ethiopian wolf, red jackal, Ethiopian jackal, Abyssinian wolf, horse jackal, simian jackal, or simian fox. And I guess it's the rarest dog species in the wild. Probably because it's, there's only 500 of them left. I get much more of a fox vibe too, Cliff. But yeah, it's, again, they're one of the many pollinators of this herb endemic to the Ethiopian, like at higher latitudes in Ethiopia. And now apparently it's, reported as commonplace. If we look at the paper, they report that this happened in over 30 instances in a single walkabout that the animal does. So again, I think pretty cool. The figures are actually quite neat. It doesn't look real. So I don't know if y'all have seen stuffed animals before from taxidermy. This almost looks like a taxidermied placed wolf or a fox rather than a real looking animal. It's just such a perfect photo. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still quite pretty. And they're pretty densely packed, these plants, so hitting up 30 is not going to be a big ask for these animals to do. And yeah, that's it for this paper. So paper number 2 is in the books, y'all.